We are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the next edition of Strong Perspective Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Keith Armstrong. I'm here with my brothers Damon Armstrong and Jaquari Armstrong. We have a special guest tonight, Terrance Johnson. Um, he's very special because he's our first cousin, but he's like a little brother to us. So, welcome, Terrance. I'm glad you're here. Starting off with Jaquari. How's everything going with you, brother?
Everything, everything is slowly starting to come back to normal now. We had a recent tragedy in the family, and I don't know if it would be appropriate to acknowledge it or not. You know, because my wife drove to Michigan, and uh, she was there to see our first Kindle home. It was an emotionally draining thing for me, man, because for the last handful of years we've been losing a lot of our family members. Seriously. Other than that, man, I only had to work, one, 2 days. So yeah, everything is good. No complaint. I'm here
Okay,
route now. I'm mobile, so you guys please excuse any interruptions that may occur. Appreciate it.
okay, okay. Damon, what's going on, brother? How are
What's,
you?
what's going on, bro? Brothers, everything is good, man. I'm blessed this way. Just trying to maintain, keep things together, and enjoy life. That's about the extent of it, man. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Baba Lucy Mangani. Yes,
Baba
sir.
Lucia.
I don't know what that means.
hey, hey,
We don't
cousin.
either, brother.
Hey, it was random, man.
Revolution Mongoose, that's the Tuda
Over
Makata.
there. Over
Look,
there.
look. Our father used to tell us that throughout our whole childhood, man. Never told us what it meant, but
Wow.
he said it though.
Oh, I know where it came from, but we're
Yeah,
gonna keep
okay.
that separate.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yo, I
All right,
was just,
Terrence. Uh,
but real quick, I was just telling my wife that I didn't know my father's birthday, not because of ignorance, because he just wouldn't tell me.
hey,
I
look.
don't know. I John Ever Armstrong, I don't know when the hell his birthday is.
First of all, I had to ask our mother when his birthday was.
Yeah,
I did because he never volunteered. He said it don't matter. That's what he used to say.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was in September, so you know I
He
felt
finally
privileged.
qualified.
Yeah. But look, let's get to our brother Terrance. Terrance Johnson, how you doing, brother? How's your day so far?
I'm doing well. My day has been good, man. I got an opportunity, have a half day at work. The kids are end of the school year. So we kind of had the incoming ninth graders have a hybrid schedule with the high schoolers. Um, so that was pretty cool. They got out about 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Got an opportunity to go pick up my boys from school because they all had half days down here in Ypsilanti. So besides that, man, I'm just kind of relaxing, enjoying the fellowship with my brothers here, and looking forward to the carnival.
Okay. Okay. Well, what we'll do is we'll start with this, Terrence. Tell our audience about yourself and whatever you want to volunteer. You can deep dive or you can just skirt on it because we'll get to it eventually.
Fair enough. Um, I'm family. I say that. There's a lot of strong genes in the family. There's a lot of uh, strong personalities that I'm very thankful, blessed that God has blessed me with such leadership within my family on my mom's and my father's side. But Ypsilanti kid, native Ypsilanti. Uh, love the area. Be honest with you, there's times there are areas that I kind of loathe being here because of the stupidity that some of our community still finds themselves in.
No doubt.
But
No doubt.
everybody's got their own process. But moved to Ann Arbor back in '89 with my family, and Ann Arbor Pioneer grad 1998. Kind of fun times in Ann Arbor, I would say, from the '89 to '98. There was a lot going on with the university, but It was a good time to be a high school or middle school kid at that time, man. It was, second oldest to six, and uh, just trying to live for God. And at this point, teach these young men how to be well-rounded, productive men in society and lead their families, man. That's about what I'm doing right
Okay. Sister-in-law Belita, we love you, baby. Acknowledging everybody in the comments. Cousin Stacy, he says, "Boo Pioneer." So,
now.
Terrance, that's for you, brother.
Hey, guess what? I'm a love you anyway, but dog, don't want to mess with my squad 98 who'd have
Yo,
ran y'all down.
look,
Simple as
look,
that.
look. Your cousin
Oh,
Javon.
wait, hold on
Oh,
now.
hold on. Your cousin
If he wasn't like
Javon.
he was when
Hold
y'all was
on,
playing,
Prince.
bro.
Hold on. We got another fellow pioneer. Your cousin Jafan is on here, and she's shouting you out too. Now, what was that craziness you just said, brother?
Hey, back when y'all were in y'all heyday, Ipsy had some ballers, but
Okay,
because of maturation of the
okay.
community,
I,
Ipsy in the '90s turned into straight hot garbage. Sorry to say, it is what it
All
is.
right.
all
All
right.
right.
Well, look. Why don't we do this? Moving on.
Yes,
How,
sir. Yes, sir.
when it comes to where are you? How many siblings do you have, and where you are in the birthing order?
I'm the second oldest. My mom and my dad. I have half siblings and step siblings, but I'm the second oldest. Man, I can't even count. So I'm gonna start with my step siblings. I have Patrick, uh, Earl, and Corey, and Nicole Lemon are my step siblings. My half siblings are Patrick and Jasmine Lemons. I have Michael, Rachel, Jessica, and my older brother Lawrence. So I come in second of that whole litter of
Okay.
kids of my mom and my dad, my step.
Okay. Okay. Now, can you give us an idea of what it was to be second in command and all of that?
As we were discussing in a production meeting, before broadcast, it's being the second oldest is I'm not gonna lie, I default to my older brother in a lot of decision making. Um, because of the mantle of how God is taught me through Scripture. You look at the blessing of a second oldest male that does not give, or I mean the blessing of the first male in the family, I should say. That double blessing is not given to the firstborn female, but it's only given to the firstborn male. So there's a lot of authority in leadership that I default to with my older brother, and a lot of things pertaining to, especially with mom and my dad, their health as they get older. Just want to make sure he's wrapped in because he's out of state, but that put me in a place where I felt like I definitely had to find my voice. I mean, we discussed that before this meeting. Um, Finding my voice as the second oldest and finding my voice in itself within our family as God has given me and instructed me in my life at this point in my time. It does give me a lot of responsibility because of where you're positioning in within your family. But man, as you get older, you just try to be a support and love on your siblings as much as possible as we're raising children of our own. So it's a blessing, man, because I come from such a large family in itself.
I got you. Okay. Okay. As far as we spoke about what you're doing now, your outreach and everything, why don't you give our audience a little background as far as that's concerned, and
Well,
why you wanted to get into it.
um, growing up in Ypsilanti in the 80s, 70s, I made it by 1 year. Awesome. Um, 80s and 90s was rough, man. There's a lot of culturally male black males leaving and abandoning the families in a lot of aspects. So um, I was very fortunate, man. You guys, good Lord, I can't express the love that I have for you three men for the role that you played in my life and all the uncles and cousins that were male role models throughout my journey because God has never left my siblings alone without a godly figure or a male role model and within the family, whether that be a cousin, uncle, it turned into a lot of coaches, a lot of coaches. Mr. Jenkins, Jerome Jenkins was one of those men from Ypsilanti that coached youth football and kind of got me and my brother and a lot of young men from that community involved in sports instead of being involved in non-constructive behaviors.
Yeah.
you know. So I that in itself, poured a passion in my heart. I started, with just Eric and Michael, which are my two younger brothers, and a young man named Jace Bennett, that played at Pioneer, and just to go out and just try to stay in shape and just keep them productive. Both of those guys were super athletic and starting to go and play sports, and really making a name for themselves. And I just wanted to help out as much as possible. And eventually, I'm here doing this. Wow, this is what now I think almost, well, it's about 20 years now.
Okay.
About 20 years of coaching high school football in the state of Michigan, and it's been a ministry. It's not been. I can't. I'm gonna tell you flat out. I tell my head coach to his face, I love him. He's a good man. Coaching has been a long life ministry for me, and I've been blessed to have an opportunity to be hired on at the high school to develop. I have a superintendent and principal and the head coach who's the AD at the high school that are partnering with the vision God has given me, and this is His vision for our community. It's not just Lincoln where this vision is being birthed out of, but southeastern Michigan and Ypsilanti in itself, has lost um, young men in a lot of ways. So developing the ministry of men of valor in at the high school, and it being something that is Christian based, but it's about helping young men first and foremost get to this point that we're at. We're not all perfect. We're not judging their walk. We're just here to partner. Look at all the destruction and everything that's going on from Buffalo, Sandy Hook, Colorado, now to Texas. At some point, we have lost, the understanding as a nation of the role of men and the men within the community and then within their own families, helping productive young men grow up to be men of valor. So I take that very serious as to what God is calling me to do at this point in time in my life.
Okay. Okay. Well, let me just. I'm coming back to you, Terrance, but Jaquari, what I wanted you to do, if you can, when we were doing our production meeting yesterday, you mentioned something about the actual number calculated with the lives lost in both Texas and Buffalo. Can you elaborate on that again, if you remember?
But yeah, it was an exaggeration because I haven't, I haven't looked closely to the actual numbers or whatever, but it was you were talking about Terrence yesterday. How many of those children got reported? There was two adults.
Can you hear me, Jaquari?
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead. Try that again.
yeah, two. It was two adults, and how many children were murdered?
Was it 18 guys?
18. Now, all that,
I think it was 18 in total.
Yeah.
yeah, all that future potential
18 in
in
total.
Texas that was taken away. I mean, people who were gunned down in Buffalo. I mean, that they were weaponized, old people in their 60s and 70s, man. Just trying to, scrape together some grocery money, man. They were on fixed incomes, in the first place, right? So just for them, going to the grocery store and the gas pump is already taking a bite out of them, man.
Okay.
But I'm going through a time, so I might.
Okay.
It's,
Well,
all,
look.
it's already a rough situation for them in the first place because, like I said, they don't know whether to buy medicine or food. And then you got this jackass who ironically wants to, come the day before he shoots all of these older people, right? He goes and I don't know if you've seen the interview, but there's a black guy who like called him out the day before and told him, "Hey man, you look like you don't belong here." So they started talking, back and forth, going over, all kind of whatever subjects or whatever. But before the shooter left, he hugged the guy. But he
Okay.
came back the very next day and ruined countless lives, man. Seriously.
Okay. Well, now I'm not because it was some interference, but did you?
Yeah.
I wanted you to. You didn't have to be exact with the number of years that was lost, but that was very impactful that in which you shared with us, and that's what I was really aiming at. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be accurate, but the thing about it is, when you said it, I was like, that's incredible to even think about, but it's so true. How many years and generational years was lost in both those incidents?
Mm-hmm.
So now, if I remember, you were saying something about in Texas, it was several hundred years of future
I mean,
lives. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
you're just calculating everybody. It's just them living a normal life. There's several hundred years of living human existence that was
yeah.
erased at that moment, right?
And I was including them and their children.
And their children, right? And then you said with the folks in Buffalo, you said what, two libraries full
The
of
equivalent,
knowledge?
yeah, the equivalent of two libraries of Congress.
That's a very impactful situation. And I just wanted to get it in there because just to let you guys know, Jaquari is en route to another engagement, so he won't be with us for long. So I just wanted him to get that in, and we're gonna give you, before you leave, we're gonna give you opportunity to say a couple of things. But Terrance, I want to get back to you. The thing I want to ask you is, in this outreach, right? In this outreach, how difficult do you find reaching the children? Are they responding to you, or do you find roadblocks? Just give us your idea of it.
Um, of course, there's roadblocks, man. That's just the nature of the outreach. Um, at the end of the day, it's for me. It's I'm not. I could care less about the roadblocks. The roadblocks are opportunities for God to create relationship, and that's what I look at the roadblocks as. I mean, the situations that we find ourselves in is a lack of confidence in a lot of our young men and young women in that I'm seeing around the high school and unstable home situations sometimes. I can't talk specifically about this young man's home situation, but it's unstable enough to know that he's contemplating on trying to leave the state, to go somewhere else just to have a new start. Okay, I'm not going to, if your grandparents or you have access to a family member that's going to give you ability to start fresh. I remember opportunity for myself to go down to Aunt Karen's in 96. I absolutely jumped on opportunity to get out of Ann Arbor because I was still kind of in that knucklehead mode. And it took, me hanging out with Jimmy and Eric and Tiffany and Aunt Karen and some of the football players in the coaching program down there in Murfreesboro to really kind of see, there are men that care. And for me, it's taking time and showing, man, yeah, I'm gonna treat you first and foremost like you're appropriately age. Um, give you some autonomy with respect for how your feelings are and what you're thinking, how you're processing things, but alongside of that, trying to help you understand. Here's an opportunity for you to make choices as you grow older. You're making decisions on college, you're making decisions on, your academic future, things of that sort, athletic future, we're going to give you that opportunity, but we're going to put those within guidelines to keep you within boundaries of being safe and keeping yourself safe. We're seeing a lot of lack of, boundaries, truly respectful boundaries for a lot of our young people. They just, I think we said something about it yesterday or a couple of days ago. We raised a generation, or there's a generation where no wasn't told to them, and we overindulged and gave and gave and gave and gave and gave and gave. Now we have a slew of adults and young people who are entitled without necessarily putting in the work.
Got it.
Hey, we got to figure this out, especially if you have aspirations for the 4 years you're here in this high school. So for me, it's definitely seeing a lack of really stable support for the young people at home if they're going through home trauma, and them not necessarily understand the ramifications of, man, this is 4 years of my life that have really could steer the trajectory of what I do as an adult. So it's
Gotcha.
a lot of help there. A lot of help there.
Okay. Okay. Um, what I want to ask next is this, and this is for all three. Myself and my brothers. We've all worked with troubled youth. Jaquar, you still are working along with Terrance. Tell me, what is one of your biggest roadblocks? Same question I asked Terrance. And also, what do you feel you've had your greatest stride in the area? We'll start with you, Damon.
My back is, for me, it was trying to navigate through basically their bullshit, because coming from where they come from, man, it's gonna be a challenge there, man. You know what I'm saying? And they challenge you, but not because, the ones who truly want help, they challenge you, man, because they want to know if you are really, really sincerely connected to the job that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Because they hear all the time, you know what I'm saying, the rhetoric. Hey, man, you this and that, and you need the program is this and the program is that. You know what I'm saying? But the program is a broad thing, but it's not personal. You know what I'm saying? When the kid is following the program, man, they just fitting into a space.
Gotcha.
And it's not a personal thing. So if you can't make a connection to them, then they're just going through the process, man. So for me, it was all about navigating, all of it, to be frank with you. You know what I'm saying? And get to knowing these kids and get to understanding, okay, when I walk in the door, I can see this kid is in the mood.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So instead of coming at him in a programmed way, instead of coming at him in a programmed way, you know what I'm saying? I recall our interaction together. You know what I'm saying? Our interaction together, and I try to build on that, and that makes it personal. If you know what I'm saying, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. All right, since Jaquari is not out, I'm gonna take this. First, I'm gonna acknowledge Lawrence. I see you, baby boy. Lawrence said the only way it'll work if the young man is ready to change, which is a good point. Which is a good point. But let me just say with me, this is one of the questions I'm going to address in this podcast is I've worked in law enforcement for 30 years. So the second half of it, the second quarter of my law enforcement years, I worked as a school resource officer in a high school. So what I ended up doing was I had to change my frame, because a lot of times in the school that I was in their homes when I was on patrol. I dealt with their parents, some of their parents, not all of them, but some of their parents when I was on patrol. So they knew of me when they saw me start walking the halls of that school. And the thing about it, what I needed to understand was, just like you guys alluded to, there's always a moment where a kid is too immature to know that he's searching for help. You see what I mean? Because you could be trying to meet him, but he'll be resistant because he's not lived enough lifetimes to understand that you're reaching out to him. So what is the excuse requiring, Terrance? Oh, you don't know. You don't know my life. You don't this, right? And yesterday I told you guys, I don't like giving my resume. I don't like giving it. Understand, look in my eyes, look in my face and say, and let me say to you, hey, what I want you to do is understand that somebody cares about you.
See what I'm saying? It's saying that I'm having issues.
You're good, man. We hear you. We hear you. Can you hear us? But the
Yeah.
thing about it is, what I make sure to do is what I made sure to do, and I had to change, guys, to be honest with you. I had to change because I'm coming off patrol, and I every day on patrol and in law enforcement, you see, and this is a slight exaggeration, but the worst in people, because you are the Band-Aid, not the cure. You're the Band-Aid when you go to people's homes. They want your help. So you do the best that you can. The children, you see the children there. You do the best you can for them, right? But on patrol is a temporary stop. But then I had to realize that I was in a more permanent spot when I was in the high school as a school resource officer. I was in a more permanent spot because I was there every day. I was stationary. And we talked about it last night. Giving a kind word, saying hello is attached to a kind word.
Yes.
And that's real. So when we get caught up on, because really and truly, Terrance, I'm gonna tell you, you have taken on a very, and I understand you feel you got God on your side, and that's more than enough, right? But understand the human part of you needs to understand that it is a mountain that you're climbing. And the only thing you need to concentrate on, and this is my little advice, now that I'm retired, you know what I'm saying, is this: take one step at a time. One
Yes.
step. Is it?
Yeah, I mean,
You know
but
what I mean?
to answer your question that you were asking, you proposed there, it's two things. Like my brother commented in, the young person has to be receptive.
Yeah.
If you're not receptive to hear, I'm not going to waste my breath. And I'm not saying that that's heartless, but that unfortunate is a part of life where they have to learn that you're going to have to get the unashamed truth. It's going to be given in love, but it's got to be true. If you are ready to hear, then it's taking time to build relationships. Like we talked yesterday, I go around calling these young brothers and sisters kings and queens because that's who they are, man, God's
Yeah.
image.
Yeah.
So when you actually greet these young people with that type of kindness, where they actually respond to an adult in a different manner, it's like, wait a minute, what's something's different about this person?
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't excuse me holding them accountable for their behavior. You know, we talked yesterday a little bit about altercations that I've seen with young women in the school, and at this point, I'm seeing them more violent than the men, and you guys are putting your hands on men, and that's a whole different conversation.
It's
But
always the case. It's always the
it's
case. But
it's taking time to say, look, young queen, that can land you into a lot of different places that aren't productive for your life and your outcome and trajectory and what you're trying to be. You know, and let alone put this young man in a bad situation, which could have happened. So, educating all of these parties. Yeah, what did he do to her prior to her punching him in the face? I don't know, but something in that exchange happened that both of these young people need to address.
yeah.
So they have to be receptive. But even if they're not, man, I'm sorry. You're going to have to learn by dealing with penalties and actions.
I
Reaping what
get
you sow.
I get it.
Sometimes
Hey,
you got a bad situation, it plays out that way.
okay, well look, let me do this because I want Jaquari Jaquari, I want his opinion on exactly what we're talking about, and then we're gonna respond about that later. You know what I mean? So, Jaquari, what's your opinion about it?
Oh, man, the thing that I had to change, man, was I had to be easy on my judgmental nature, man. You know, because I always, put these kids in a box, and I just figured that they were their and honestly their lineage is less than. And I'm like, what the hell?
Mhm.
What business do I, as a black man, have it, being in a position to influence, positively influence these young people? Because I work with, young men and young women. But to think of them in such fashion, man, it's just, why are you here? Why are you here? I'm not. I mean, we've never been a subspecies of human, but after a couple of years of directly working with that population, man, I started to treat them like colonizers, man. Like I was a colonizer. I
Wow.
thought, and
That's
these
honesty,
are
bro.
black. Yeah, but I'm saying these are black. These were young African American males and females, young ladies. But since I was, in a position of overseer,
Mhm.
I tended to look at them, like I wasn't never going, I wasn't never ever going to have to cross paths with them again, you know. But I'm gonna tell you what really, really that was one thing that changed. But another thing that really, really changed, man, was the fact that in my neighborhood, one of the guys, man, he was back and forth, a holy terror in the street, back and forth, right? But he used to cut my grass. He used to cut my grass. So when I tell my dudes, man, I'm teaching you by example, man, how to be my neighbor. Because when you're 18, you're gonna be my peer. And if you're fortunate enough, you know, you're gonna be my neighbor. And there's a certain way that I need you to conduct yourself because there's a certain way that I'm gonna conduct myself. We're gonna be responsible. We're gonna stand up. We got, we gonna speak up the right way.
No doubt.
The right way. Everybody, knows. Everybody can see that there's a wrong, but it takes a very particular person to address that wrong, correctly. And I'm not saying that everybody needs to be an eloquent speaker, or you need to just go in and immediately club people over the head. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, it's between 0 and 100. It's so many numbers, so you don't have to start off on 100. Everything's progressive. You learn how to walk slowly. You learn how to interact with people slowly. You learn how to deal with difficult situations slowly. You do. Nobody is hardwired to come out, and just automatically do right. They got to learn it.
They do. They do.
If the people who are responsible for their rearing drop the ball in some spaces, well, that's where people like us come into the picture. People who just out of the blue might grab a young person and be like, "Hey, man, let me speak to you for a second, man. I see potential in you, man. I heard it 1,000 times when I was a young cat, man. I see potential in you, man." But John Armstrong was the only person that told me, man, that potential don't last. Is it possible for you to be a 25 to 30-year-old man with potential? By that time, you are supposed to be working on your idea.
You
I
need to be
believe
moving. You need to
you're
be
supposed to
moving
be
where you
moving
need to be.
forward, even
Yeah.
if you don't have an idea. You're supposed to be
That's it.
pressing forward.
Yeah.
You know,
Hey, look. Let me do this real quick. I just want to acknowledge Stacy Chauncey, our cousin, and Lawrence. They both had some great points. First of all, Stacy said that he has a ministry at an elementary school called Paddles and Prayer. It's my ministry at elementary school. So, you know, I think a lot of that has to do with just, and I'm guessing, and I may be wrong. Let me know, Stacy. That is tough love. You know what I mean? And that don't mean insulting and berating. Is, hey, let me tell you the truth, and this is how I handle the truth. You know what I mean? And then Lawrence, which, you know, basically what I was going to bring up next is, he said you're planting seeds whether you think you are or not.
Definitely,
We
definitely.
talked
Like I said
about that
yesterday,
last
man.
night. We talked
Just like I
about that
said
last
yesterday,
night.
you,
Yeah,
you don't get to choose when you teach, man.
you don't. And they see, but that's the thing about it, though. That's the seed. Now, when somebody sow, that's not planned either.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got the role, gentlemen. I apologize for for my abruptness, and
Hey,
I
look.
I hope y'all have a hell of a show. Finish strong, fella.
Love you, bro.
Love you.
Love y'all too, man.
All right,
Peace.
brother.
Peace.
All right. But, you know, as I said, so let me ask you two guys, and you know, let's pretend that this is a perfect world, and this is all speculation. And this your opinion? If you were able to have one thing to affect and contribute to your goals when it comes to our young people, what would it be? Now I can go first and give y'all time to think about it, because
Yeah, you go first, man.
this is something that I've always contemplated. So really and truly, as I told you last night, it's my belief when people do bad, when they do bad, wrong, when they wrong other people. I'm not talking about a reflex action towards each other, but actually, rob, steal, whatever, right? It's the easy way out. Now, I'm not oversimplifying it. What I'm saying to you is, it is harder to do the right thing than the wrong thing, right? So, what I want to do, what I think, there's a couple things that I can touch, but I think one of the main things is this: community, mutual cooperation. Because if you ever look at when we're around our boys, if we're talking freely and all this, we're always, and we talked about it last night, we're always suspicious of each other. We always see the bad in each other, right? And there's no cooperation unless it's a bad thing. When I say a bad thing, gang involvement, drug involvement, things that goes against human nature. You get cooperation with that. And as I said earlier, that's the easy path. You know what I'm saying? Because you gotta think about it. You were born at the end of it, Terrance, but we were born and we lived through the drug era, where they made movies about marijuana, Terrance. And those movies was blockbusters, Cheech and Chong's and whatever, right? They were blockbusters, right? Then, all of a sudden, the harder drugs, there was always prevalence, right? Now all of a sudden, someone said, "Oh, this is wrong." Now I can say it's because the white community was affected, but when it affected our community, and this is my own personal opinion, it has nothing to do with you guys. When our community was affected, it was ignored. Keep it down there, right? But it's like all these things going against what we're doing. And we are not cooperating amongst each other. Like, yo, this is bad. Let's get together. Let's get some kind of conference. Let's do something, right? The conference, the first 2 days of the conference is beautiful because everybody feel the urgency behind it, right? But as it goes along, mutual cooperation. Man, why do he feel like he need to take the forefront? Why is he trying to, look at him, he trying to take control of this. Look at him, this is what it, and I'm speaking in general terms, but think about it. Throughout your life, you've known that. You've seen it. Because what it is easy to allow someone who's a menace to control everybody because it's controlled out of fear, right? But how about if you're not afraid of anything and you're trying to get something done? Why isn't it a mutual cooperation? You feel what I'm saying? Why does petty emotion come into play? These are questions I ask myself all the time. I don't have an answer, but I ask that question because that question, that scenario always comes up. So if I were to change something, it would erase that. It would erase that, and we would be bonded moving forward. Win, lose, or draw, we're moving forward. Because other communities may not, individually will hate each other. But if it's going towards a common goal, they'll walk toward that common goal. Now, I gave y'all some time. And it don't have to be eloquent, it ain't got to be blockbuster, but just give me your opinion. Terrance, we're gonna start with you.
It's hard to deviate from the root, the essence of your statement. I would actually add on to that by saying, there's a scripture within the New Testament that talks about a seed and the ground that it's being sowed on. My one thing would be that there would be hearts that were receptive for unity and one-mindedness. And if that in itself would, I believe, allow room for other ideas, other beliefs that aren't like yours, acceptance of differences in backgrounds, but it would bring more unity, I believe, if your heart was receptive to seeing, not just seeing, but actually applying some truth to the change that needs to happen within the community. If the heart's not in it, it's going to be very challenging to get anything moving forward, and let alone you talk about unity within a community. I would say for sure that would be one thing that I would do and would want to see. I don't have to agree with you, but I gotta love and respect your perspective. I got to respect your perspective for where it is and where you've gone through in your journey. I have to give room for that and respect for your perspective being different from mine as well, and still come together in peace and oneness to say that, despite you being a different faith or a different gender or different, preferences, that we can get together in this community and stop what's going on by helping institute some of these, what we know are morally right things. Let's love our neighbor. Let's care for the kid down the street that don't got no food. His pops ain't here, so let's take him out to the field. Let's take baby girl out and let her know that she's a queen. Baby girl, yeah, let's go take girls out. Let's go out to the splash pad. It's just taking time. It's taking time. So that's what I would say. A heart change in time.
Okay, Damon.
Well, I would start with some harsh truths, man. those people, those kids who are getting the opportunity to be taken to those places that you described, Terrance, man, are considered the pretty people, man. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by the pretty people is the people that people see that might have some semblance of some type of potential. Everybody else falls to the wayside. You know what I'm saying? That's just fact and reality in our community. As a matter of fact, in everybody's community. Everybody wants a sure thing that they can invest in. They don't want to hear the heartaches. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to hear, oh man, oh yeah, you struggled, man. You was on drugs and you did time. They don't want to hear that, man. Because it's not at their doorstep, man. You see what I'm saying? You hear clowns, put it that way. You hear clowns talking about charge you to the game. That's the worst phrase I've ever heard in my damn life, man. You understand what I'm saying? Because guess what? Those same people who puff out their chest, who said what they chest, charge it to the game, when it happened to their son and daughter, they want to rally the troops and shit. Man, y'all know what happened to my daughter. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing. You understand what I'm saying? They desensitized towards the whole process, man, the whole matter. So what we have to do, in my estimation, is be honest, man. If it's happening to your neighbor's daughter, that is too close for comfort. So you have to be on your shit to make sure that you say, okay, you know what, that's too close. I have to be involved in that situation because it's almost at my doorstep. You know what I'm saying? I have to be involved in that. And that's just the reality of it. People do not give a shit unless it comes to their doorstep. It's just like Cheney, Dick Cheney, vice president. He didn't give a damn about the gays until he found out his daughter was. You know what I'm saying? Until he found out his daughter was. Then all of a sudden he had compassion for the next person. You know what I'm saying? Before that, his mentality was, you just went down the wrong road, or you made the wrong choices. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody on every level, people make wrong choices. You know what I'm saying? But that is an opportunity for them to be better people. How do you learn? You learn from your mistakes, man.
You do.
You understand what I'm saying? You learn from your mistakes. So for me, it's like, dude, I can't convince you to have compassion and empathy. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like you always speak to Brother Terrance, you know, God has his plan. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes God's plan is for you to get your head bumped, man. Sometimes that's what it is. And you have to allow a person that process. Because if you don't, and you're being judgmental, then you'll never get to the root of the problem. Because they're going to come with some fake shit. You know what I'm saying? And once you hear the fake shit, you're gonna be desensitized towards the matter and say, yeah, that's another one lost. But at some point, man, people are going to have to come to the understanding that, you know, we live in a bad place. But out of that bad place and those bad situations, you know what I'm saying? It's like Tupac said, weeds can grow out the concrete. You understand what I'm saying? And you have to be able to recognize that. But the only way that's going to work in your recognition is that you lead by example. Not by your words, but by your actions. Because they don't want to hear shit. Okay, Mr. Armstrong, you tell me, man, if I put the grindstone in, if I grind and I do this and I do that and I follow your blueprint, I'm going to make it like you. Yeah, man, it's not a guarantee, but at least you can say to yourself, damn, I tried. Now, you know, I tell you what, prove me wrong. Prove my process wrong, man. And when you come to me and say, hey, it didn't work, you know what I'm saying? I'm still not going to agree with you because I'm like, you know, oh, so you gave up your first strike. You know what I'm saying? There's always a process, man. But it's never predicated on my own personal experience. It's always predicated on what they're going through and what they allow you to see.
Okay.
what they allow you to see, and you just have to be patient enough to not charge into the game and feel like that's a human being that deserves a second, third, or fourth chance.
Gotcha.
Indeed.
All right. Well, look, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna address because Stacy Chauncey and Lawrence Reed had some good things to say. If you guys looking at the comment, but basically what's going on is what Stacy had to say is the first thing that comes to mind is exposure for young folks. You know, they have to see outside their four walls. When you left home and came back, you was able. And speaking of us, you was able to expand your mindset, seeing life through a different lens other than Ypsilanti. You know, and then Lawrence said, "Well, community is the seed that is sold on. Our community is the seed that is sold on concrete, right? Meaning that we can water it, but we never can take root. It can never take root because there's no longer a village to help water the youth. Now, here's the thing. I'm gonna give you guys a couple minutes to respond, but I'm gonna respond first
You
because
respond first, man.
basically what you both have terrific points. So the way that I add to this is this. Add to what you guys just said is this. We spoke about it last night, Terrance. I said when we look at our community, we only look at the 1 to 2%. And we judge our community by the 1 to 2%. It latches on to our identity. You see what I'm saying? But Terrance, you work with the 1 to 2%. Damon used to work with the 1 to 2%. Jaquari, the same thing. I know I worked with the 1 to 2%, meaning that everyone that I dealt with, it was recycled. It was rare there was somebody new, but it was occasional. You understand what I'm saying? But our community is always designed. They throw the explanation or the description of our community as toward the 1 to 2%. And I'm not saying ignore the 1 to 2%, but think about it. 98% of the people are out here doing what the three of us are doing. Now, it may be more than just 1 to 2%. It might be 4. But if it's more than 4, right, I'm going to say that the books was cooked and is not the truth. That's just my opinion. But the bottom line is this. We cannot lose our optimism about who we are. Now, I said that we need to cooperate with each other. Mutual cooperation will take us a long way. But our egos, men and women, egos get in the way. That's my opinion. You see what I'm saying? You remember we spoke on this last night, Terrance, because I had to explain to you guys exactly what I was saying. Because what it is this. When we get bombarded, I'm looking at my television. You know, we get bombarded by YouTube, national TV news and movies and all of these things that attempt to define who we are as a community. Things become blurred. Things become either or, because the truth becomes fantasy. Oh, it's no good black folks. You know what I'm saying? It's no good black folks. Oh, no. Oh, man. Every black community is a bad community. What did I say last night? I said to you guys that there's only 1 to 2 streets in bad neighborhoods that you don't go down because they're free markets for whatever, right? But the whole neighborhood is defined by those 1 to 2 streets. It is what it is, man. But our mindset as individuals, as people, you have to hold fast to what you see instead of what you hear. I'm going to repeat that to you. You have to hold fast to believe in what you see instead of what you hear. Because you're going to hear people say, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. It's conspiracy that these folks is, you know, the man is doing this to our community and the man is doing that to our community, right? But really and truly, if they are, we're making it easy for them. I was talking to a pastor, and I'm going to let you guys respond. I was talking to a pastor, right? He said to me, he called me Mr. Armstrong. He said, Mr. Armstrong, do you not understand that if you believe in God and the devil, many times we make the devil's job easy as pie? I said, well, what do you mean, sir? He said, because the things that we layer onto a situation, he don't have to do no work. All he has to do is plant the seed. I'm going to say that again. Plant the seed. Because what I believe in, and y'all heard me last night, and I'm going to say it today, and I've said it on other broadcasts. I've always said, what I do is plant the seeds because God is sending somebody else to sow those seeds in those people. So, Damon, I'm going to let you go because you're going to be, after Terrance is done, you're going to give us our powerful 5 minutes. Okay?
Okay.
So, give us a response and then let Terrance give his response.
Hey, look here. I had to make a break, man. You know, I'm an older guy, so you know I can't keep passing rest stops, man.
You said you got twinkle balls, man. But go ahead.
Come on, man.
No, you said that, not me.
I know I'm older than you, but go ahead, bro.
Here's the thing, man. In terms of our community, man, the one thing that we can't be is hypocrites, man. You know what I'm saying? And this is my personal thinking, my personal view on it. You know, when all the things that I've did and all the mistakes that I've made, when I hear that from somebody that I'm trying to mentor, I don't pounce. You know what I'm saying? I don't pounce and I don't pass judgment. I don't do anything. I'll be like, okay, I understand. You know what I'm saying? And I remember and I realized, man, and I'm so grateful that somebody had the patience for me too. You know what I'm saying? And didn't judge didn't judge my misgivings or whatever. It's real easy. You said something about the devil making the devil's job easier. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of fact and truth to that thing if you believe in that type of thing, but for me, it doesn't even go. It don't go as far as human beings, man. People do shit because they just choose to. You know what I'm saying? Be it out of pain, be it out of whatever, anger. People just do things. You know what I'm saying? And they convince themselves that they don't have any regret, or they convince themselves that there are no consequences. But you leave their ass locked up for 20 years. They come to that conclusion. You know what I'm saying? If you lock a brother, it's very seldom a brother that's been locked up for 25 years is still doing the same shit. No, they mentoring, man. They trying to figure out how to be free. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out how to be free. So it's all about honesty, man, and realism. So I don't never come at a young cat. You know what I'm saying? Young cats are gonna come. Young men and women is gonna come at you with sincerity. That's a small percentage of them, and then there's gonna be some people that's gonna come at you like, okay, let me see how I can get over. Let me see how, because for them, the littlest win is the biggest thing for them. It's like, damn, man, you went out your way. You went out your way to lie about that little thing. and you consider it a win. Whereas I'm like, dude, well, I see it and it's like, man, you mixed up, man, and it doesn't make any sense. Why would you put so much effort into? Why would you put so much effort into being that way? You know what I'm saying? And that way, once before you described to me, made you feel like shit.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? So for me, man, it's for me. Where I come to in life for me is before I decide to mentor, I need to understand where I'm at with shit. You
Okay.
understand what I'm saying? Because that don't mean that I have to reveal anything about myself. What it means is that I have to come with honesty, truth, and humbleness with a little bit of empathy mixed in. See what I'm saying? So those are the type of things that require me to listen. And once once I get that youth or that person in the community to the point where they can talk to me and I am able to listen, therein lies my job, man. That's where I can make a difference. You know what I'm saying? Because if I don't know anything about you, how the hell can I help you?
No doubt.
If you're not willing to trust me with anything, you know what I'm saying? How can I be support? I'm not. I'm just part of the system. And this country that we live in, they spend billions of dollars a year on that psychological warfare, man, to keep people where they at. To fit in the claw. Billions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta deal with that space where they can't infiltrate, man, and that's truth between two human beings. You know what I'm saying? They can't infiltrate that. That communication, that empathy, that love, and all of that. They can't infiltrate that. They can talk about what some rapper said and where he came from. You know what I'm saying? None of us, and I'm speculating, this is my last point. None of us can speak on growing up, you know what I'm saying? Well, only a few of us speak on, hey man, I ain't had nobody that gave a shit about me, so I had to get out there in the streets and hustle. Is that really true? Is that really true? If you got talent, if you got something that's about you, therein where God works. Somebody's going to pay attention to that talent. Somebody's going to pay attention to that special thing that you are as a human being. You see what I'm saying? You just have to be able to recognize it. And therein lies where you work.
No doubt.
As a mentor, therein lies where, you know what I'm saying, where you try to make a difference. And it's not going to work all the time. But, you know what I'm saying, sometimes when it don't work, it's when the real seed is being planted.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's something that they got to think about. You know what I'm saying? They could play wordsmiths with you all day, but if you give them something to think about,
Yeah.
they ain't got no choice but to come back to you and say, man, you know what, you bumped my head. You got my attention. That's when the shit starts.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
my own personal opinion.
No doubt. Terrance.
There's a couple things. First off, I agree with both your points. The realization that self-will and making decisions and choices have to come into be a major factor in what we're talking about, because no young person, no adult who is not willing to hear or willing to change, willing to look at self, willing to evaluate one's actions are a prime candidate in my mind for factual change. That doesn't mean that we don't try, because at the end of the day, like you said, we're all Johnny Appleseed out here. I'm not the one bringing forth the fruit. The Word of God says the Holy Spirit is the one who brings forth knowledge and understanding. So what I'm doing, but we all know that there is a moral compass of what's right and wrong. And I ain't talking about Yes, it's a biblical thing, but dude, we're talking about from a societal standpoint. You love in community. You don't got to agree with my faithful views, but you talk about you loving on me as I love on you. You respected me as I respect you. Having some common ground to have a relationship built. Man, some of my favorite people in the world are Muslims. I love my friends coworkers that I've worked with. They don't believe the way I believe. That doesn't negate that I love them and their children. So when we're in a place where I can say we can allow differences to foster and trust God in the situation about bringing people knowledge and understanding and just having open discussion like this, hearing different perspectives, different lifespans, different journeys, experiences, and having empathy to sit and listen. Man, at the end of the day, these kids, they just want somebody to sit and hear what they're saying and take it for it being validity for where they're experiencing their life right now. I ain't here to try to fix everything, but I am a sounding board. And if you're asking for truth, that's an opportunity for me to speak truth. Man, bro, you going about interacting with these females in this manner, you're going to be labeled a womanizer. Come on, man. You really want to be putting yourself out like a male hope? I don't. Understand how to respect yourself. Understand that you've been living with a purpose. You've been given a purpose to live with. Well, what is that purpose? Well, dude, what is your passion? What drives you? One of the things that I heard recently, it was a quote, and I may be misquoting the actual author, but I believe it was Rockefeller that said that he desired a nation of workers instead of intellectual free thinkers, people that have the ability to think outside the box and innovate. And look at where our nation is right. We have a workforce, labor force. God did not create us that way. So for me, it boils down to relationship with these young people, treating them as young people, because dude, I got 20 some odd years on y'all. Nah, dude, you ain't an adult yet. Talk to me when you graduate.
Yeah.
Talk to me when you graduate. But that does not negate the respectful level that I have to approach them. Man, man, come on. My boy is the director of Short Story. He's directed the track program here in Ipsy. And we had an altercation with two football players, both of which are underclassmen. One was accused of taking the kid's things when he didn't take it. He got pissed off, stole the kid's things that was accusing, dumped this stuff out, took his shoes, put them on, and then after being accused of it and found that he's having this kid's shoes on, the police were called. The AD, who was the head football coach, is talking to him with the police officer. Yeah, these ain't his shoes. These are my shoes. And then eventually admits that they're his shoes and refused to take them off. Son, it has nothing about religious belief. You know damn straight that that's wrong. Deal with the repercussions of it being wrong. Period. It's truth and love, man.
Yeah.
It's not BSing about, oh yes, we take in consideration that some of your childhoods were off the chain and grimy. That is something that has to be taken consideration. And unfortunately, a lot of people that are in education can't relate to these kids because they didn't experience this stuff. And I ain't saying I did, but I've come from a similar background, sometimes a whole lot more worse than a lot of these young people. I just don't share. Like y'all said, if you want to get to know what happened to me and what God is used to create the man that I am today, we need to build a relationship. Baby girl, young man, let me let you know about what's going on, but we got to talk about what's going on with you first. How do I get you to get to the point where I want you to take your academics seriously? I want you to take your spiritual work seriously. I want you to take community in this high school seriously, and I want you to graduate. Not just graduate. Graduate with honors and get your ass get a degree.
Yeah.
Hello. Why not?
Yeah.
I could care less about your background. I could care less about mom and dad not supporting you at home. There's enough. There has been, and I'm not saying every school district is this way. I've been blessed to come out of IFSI. I've been blessed to come out of Ann Arbor, and I've been blessed to come back to IFSI. Education is not equal across our nation, and that has to be addressed. But
That's true.
those men and women that are there, regardless of the inequalities, the heart to serve, the heart to instruct and hear and listen, it's always been there. That has been the foundation of our community and family. I'm a product of it. You too. Ja'Cory just jumped off. 3, stop it. So there isn't an excuse like Fluke was saying. Is there an excuse for your behavior for you to continue to do what you're doing? You're making choices now. You're making active choices. And my job and where I'm at right now is like, man, I want you to understand. I'm gonna give you the autonomy to make this choice, good or bad, but I'm gonna give you the what can happen on either end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Truth and love.
It's real. Hey, look, let me just do this because I want to give Damon his 5 minutes. I want to acknowledge she's an educator. She's a good friend of mine, Terry White Scott. And basically, she sent some comments in, which is, I need you both just to hear them. She said seeds must be placed in the correct soil, followed by the correct nurturing in order to grow. And he said cacti can't grow in a rainforest. You know what I mean? She said basically what she's saying is it's about the environmental situation of the child, which we all agree. You know what I mean? So my thing is, Terry, because what I know about this young lady, she is an educator to her heart. So she goes to bat for these children. And she and I have always had this ongoing debate about things. Not that I disagree with her, but understanding the degree in which I'm debating with her. You see what I mean? Because honestly, there's different levels of what's going on. You guys hold these young men and women accountable, saying, hey, it's up to you. I agree with you totally, but I want to say this. And we'll talk about this once the broadcast is over with. I want to say this. Sometimes they're too immature to understand where we're coming from.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you, Terrance, because beautiful, beautiful interview, brother. We're at the point of our broadcast where we give my brother Damon a few moments to address what's on his mind. And that's all I'm going to say. Damon, you take it away, brother.
Well, what I wanted to discuss, man, was the thing that all three of us experienced, man, was loss and confusion and remembrance and heart pain and ache and all that stuff. So I started thinking about that because of my sorrow or whatever. I could not move out of that space. You know what I'm saying? And you never know when tragedy strikes. But there is a small way that you might have some type of impact in terms of making it a positive thing. And what I mean by that is this. I was thinking, and I was like, man, what is it, the one thing that if I could have done in retrospect or convinced somebody else to do in retrospect, man, would have made a difference, in terms of the final knowledge, the final thing that happened, and what I came to was, when you think about the African American community, man, how much do we invest, man? How much do we invest? And I'm not talking about monetarily. I'm talking about in our own health, man. You understand what I'm saying? Our own health. How many of us get checked yearly? I would venture to guess very few. You know what I'm saying? The only time people get checked, man, is when they have to, or when there's a crisis or a situation that's already in play. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing that our Aunt Jeannie, Dorothy Harris, said to me one day. She said, I went to her and I said, Auntie, man, cancer is a cruel thing in our family, man. Why is it affecting us so much? And she looked at me and she said, because we don't go to the doctor. As simple as that. Because we don't go to the doctor on a regular basis to get checked. So I did my research, man. And I was thinking about African American males. And the one thing that affects us most than anybody, and that's prostate cancer. We lead it. Matter of fact, it's worldwide. You know what I'm saying? And I listened to them talk about genetics and living in food deserts and not being able to have, the proper foods to help us stay healthy and prevent those type of things happening and all that stuff. But the main thing, man, that struck me more than anything is the fact that we don't go to the damn doctor at all. There's a fear, there's a stigma placed there. Any type of cancer that you might have in your life, if you catch it in its first and second trimester, there is an 80% chance that you might last another 10 years. That's factual. That's scientifically known. Factual. Why does it happen? Because brothers and sisters refuse to go to the doctor, man, and have their annual stuff. Their annual stuff. You know what I'm saying? And as I was looking through it and researching it, you know what I'm saying? When I said that 80%, that's 8 common cancers that could be managed within the first trimester. You see what I'm saying? And we know our bodies. We know what things, when we know what things are affecting us, when things are changing, and what do? Do we do the right thing and just go to the doctor no matter what our fears are? No, we don't make that investment. You understand what I'm saying? Because when we make investments within ourselves, it affects our children and our loved ones across the board. It affects us. You know what I'm saying? And it prevents us from prospering and moving forward because of the loss. So I guess what my point is that no matter what, man, your fears might be, no matter what you're feeling or thinking, what your fears are, take your butt to the doctor, man, and get checked. You understand what I'm saying? And get checked. Because the things that we fear the most, like I just described, 80% of it, man, can be avoided. I mean, 80% of it can be treated. Let me put it that way. When they extend your life at an 80% clip, at an 80% clip, and give you an extra 10 years on your life expectancy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm speaking to African American, I hate to use that phrase because we black people. Black people. You see what I'm saying? Invest in yourselves and take your ass to the doctor. Even when you're healthy. If it's been more than a year since you've been to the doctor, go do blood work. Go do blood work. Because there's an 80% potential that you might avoid causing yourself and other people's heartache and pain. And that's pretty much all I got to say right now.
Pretty much all you got to say. That was a hell of a thing to say there, brother.
It's right
Love
on.
that. Loved it. Loved it. So, Terrance, what we're going to do, we're going to let you take a couple minutes, close out our live, brother. You are a special guest. So talk to us, man. Yeah.
It's not much to say, honestly. No, it's been a pleasure. It's something that's very passionate on my heart. It has been since my younger brothers walked into high school. Men and our proper roles in our society, first and foremost within our family. Um, and it brings joy to my heart that I have you older cousins to look up to and have along this journey, man. It has definitely been a blessing. Um, Looking forward to joining and chop it up on the next one. Come on, what's good?
No doubt.
What's
Hey,
good?
look, reoccurring, baby. You come back anytime you want to come back. That's real.
Will do. Will do. Will
Damon,
do.
you got any last words, Damon?
Last words, man. I'm optimistic, man. I'm looking forward to what you used to say to me all the time. I'm excited about the possibilities. You know what I'm saying? I gotta allow I have to allow my thought processes to move towards that direction, man.
Look,
And I'm not going to deviate from that.
you on your way of finding your voice, man. We talk about it all the time. You finding your voice, and man, you well on your way.
Appreciate that, bro.
No doubt. Basically, the thing I gotta say is, look, our YouTube channel is Strong Perspective Broadcast. Like, share, and subscribe, baby, and share our shit. That's real. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be funny right now, but that's real because
Right.
every guest that we have on here and everything that we talk about is relatable to everyone because we're having personal conversations. Terrance, thank you, brother. Thank you very much, man.
Love you.
You know what I
Love you
mean?
too.
And look,
Love
stay
you,
on,
love you, bro.
hey, stay on, Terrance, because we just gonna end this live, brother. But hey, Facebook, YouTube, we're coming back at you tomorrow. I said tomorrow. Next week at 7:30.
You ready to
We're
go,
gonna be
bro?
on again, baby. Let's go. Look, you see how excited I am, right?
You ready to go?
Like he just stepped off the day court. I'm ready to go
Yeah,
another 4.
let's go. All right. Love y'all.